I know that many of you want to use Blender to create animations and tell stories, and you just don't have the time to become a rigging expert. If that's the case, then this video is for you. I'll be showing you the easiest way to rig a full humanoid character, including a nice body and facial rig. You will have a lot of flexibility with it. You'll be able to animate it manually or use body and facial mocap. We'll be using Blender, Mixamo, and two add-ons, the Mixamo add-on for Blender and the FaceIt add-on. FaceIt is a paid product, and I understand that can be a deal breaker for some of you. But I'm trying to outline a workflow that requires as little technical skill as possible, and currently FaceIt is the way to go. Of course, everything can be done for free. I even have a tutorial about combining Mixamo and the Rigify face rig. Check it out if that sounds more to your liking. You can now get access to all CG Dive tutorials, including my extensive paid courses, unreleased videos, and supporter-only content for just $5.99 a month. Check out academy.cgdive.com/subscription. For this process, you'll need to have a humanoid character. Here is mine, and I split it into a body mesh, face mesh, and if I hide the head, I have the eyes and teeth and tongue as separate meshes. This is not absolutely necessary, but it will help me a little bit in the face rigging process, but you can also have the whole character as a single mesh. The first step is to rig this guy in Mixamo, so select all of your character meshes and go to File, Export, FBX. And then you can just give it a name and export it with the default options. But in case there are other objects in your scene, you can enable limit to selected objects. And that will only export the character meshes that we selected. Then click Export FBX. Next, in your browser, go to mixamo.com and you may have to sign up and log in. Once you're logged in, click on Upload Character. You can simply drag and drop your FBX file into this field. Give it a second. Click Next. Set the character's chin, wrist, elbow, knee, and growing position. And click Next. You may have to wait for a minute or two, but it's worth it. If this animation preview is looking good, then you can click Next, and your character will be finalized. Now, without applying any animations, click Download, choose Original Pose FBX, and download it. Back in Blender, move the original character to the side, go to File, Import FBX, select the FBX that you downloaded from Mixamo, and import it with the default settings. So now if I select the armature and go to pose mode, my character is skinned to this Mixamo armature. However, the materials were lost in the process. That is not a problem. Select any of the meshes, go to the Material tab, and you'll see that all of the materials on the rigged mesh have the 001 suffix. All you have to do is replace them with the material without a suffix, which will be the original material before exporting to Mixamo. And I just have to do the same thing for the remaining meshes. Now my rigged character has the correct materials, so I no longer need these initial meshes. I can just select them and delete them. The default Mixamo rig is a little bit too simple and not animation friendly for my taste, and that is why I recommend that you use the free Mixamo add-on for Blender. You can get it from here. I'll share the link with you, and you just have to click on Get the add-on, and that will download a zip file. Then in Blender, go to Edit, Preferences, Add-ons, click Install, and find the zip file that you downloaded. Select it and press Install Add-on, and enable the add-on, and it will be over here in the Mixamo tab in the side panel. Just in case this area is contracted, you can expand it like this, or with the N key. With the Mixamo rig selected, press the Create Control Rig button and press OK. Now if you go to pose mode, you'll have a rig that is much more animation friendly. You have IK arms, and what is more important is that the legs are in IK mode. So you can lower the pelvis, for example, and the character will squat, and the feet will stay firmly on the ground. If you select the control, you may get some options. So for example, I can switch this arm to FK mode, which allows me to animate it easily by rotating the arms. For the arms, IK or FK is mostly a matter of taste, but the legs should almost always stay in IK mode. Now really quickly, if you want to assign Mixamo animations to this character, go to Animations, choose an animation, click Download. Download it without skin, that will make things a little bit simpler. In Blender, go to Object Mode, then go to File, Import, FBX, and download the new animation. I can move it to the side. Then use this picker to select this new armature in this field, and then select my Mixamo control rig and press Apply Animation to Control Rig. And now we have our character performing that action, and you can apply any Mixamo action this way. I'm going to save my file at this point. And we are going to proceed with the face rigging portion of this video. So you're going to need the FaceIt add-on. Again, I'm going to share a link with you. The version that I use and recommend is this one, the Unlimited Expressions version. So download the add-on, and then we'll install it just the same as the Mixamo add-on. Edit Preferences, Add-ons, Install. Select the zip file that you downloaded and press Install Add-on. Activate it, and that's it. Now I'm going to zero out this rig. That will put it in the default position, and it will remove the animation. I have separate in-depth videos about FaceIt, but my goal here is to make this video self-contained so that you don't have to jump around and watch other videos. To start the FaceIt process, select all of your character's face meshes. I'm going to deselect the body, I don't need it, and then press Register Face Objects. Here I realize that my objects also have the 001 suffix, so I'm going to select everything. Go to Edit, Batch Rename, and here type .001 and leave the second field empty and press OK. Then delete these entries and register my face objects again. Then we need to assign these vertex groups. The most important one is the main one, and the easiest way to assign it is to use the picker and point to the face of the character. And click. That's all. Now I have the left eye selected, and I can just press the left eye button, and that will assign the vertex group. Then the right eye, and press right eyeball. That is why I separated all face meshes in advance. Now if everything was a single mesh, then you could just go to Edit Mode, select all vertices that you want to assign, and again press this button. That will do the same, but only on the selected vertices. Okay, I'm going to hide the head for a second. Select the upper teeth and press the upper teeth button. Select the lower teeth, press the lower teeth button. Select the tongue and press the tongue button. Now we also have eyelashes. So here I can actually assign some vertices in Edit Mode. I'll go to Edit Mode, hover over the eyelashes and press L. And also on the other side. Oops. I don't want to select the face, just the eyelashes. and then I'll press the eyelashes button. If you had facial hair, you should mark it as facial hair. Rigid objects such as a hat or glasses should be marked as rigid, but that is more or less the whole process. I can then move to Rig and press Generate Landmarks, align it with the chin, scale it up, and then scale it sideways. Next, I'll be able to move these vertices one by one. So I align these vertices to the eyebrow, these verts around the eye, these ones between eye and eyebrow. These are the nose vertices. Now the mouth, and I'm going to keep these mouth vertices in the middle of the mouth and not at the outline. This is the chin. Next, click Project Landmarks, and you may want to align some vertices from the side view. This one is very important. This will become the pivot point of the jaw. You can also go to 3D view and keep aligning. Once it is looking good, you can disable snap and do something special. Select this side vertex on the mouth corner, and with the move tool, move it a little bit below the skin of the character. In these vertices, I'm also going to move a little bit inside the lips. And I'll do something similar with the eyes. Next, press Generate Face Rig, and then Bind, and OK. Now, if you go to Pose Mode, and rotate this widget, for example, you'll see that the character is opening his mouth. And all of these other widgets will also deform the character. Now, if you like this, you can keep this as your final animation face rig, but that is not the goal of this add-on. Next, we go to Expressions and load FaceIt expressions and press OK. Now, if you click on any of these expressions, you'll see the character performing a specific action. For example, this one is eye blink left, so the left eye is blinking. And you have to go through all of these 52 or so shapes and check if they're looking good. Now, how do you know if they look good? Here is a reference that you can use for this process. It contains all of these shapes, the exact same shapes. For example, here we have eye blink left, and here we also have eye blink left. So you have to make your character look more or less like on this reference image. And what is cool about FaceIt is that it does about 90% of the job for you. You may find that most of the poses look great already, but if they need some tweaking, here is what you can do. First of all, once you select this pose, you can move any of these widgets and adjust the pose. You can click this button to amplify the pose or decrease its effect. You can also go to Object Mode, select any of the meshes, and press this sculpt icon. And that will allow you to go to Sculpt Mode and make any changes that you like to this pose, and that will become your final pose. A lot of poses are symmetrical, so you can just press the symmetry button here, and that will mirror these changes on the other side. So FaceIt will do most of the work for you, but you still have to go through these poses and make sure that they look good. One that may confuse you, and it's always a little bit off, is the tongue out pose. Make it look something like this. The tongue needs to be sticking out through the closed lips. It's a bit weird, but that's how it has to be. Another one is mouth close. It looks something like this. And yes, it is weird, but that is more or less how it should look. So here I'm going to select the object and sculpt it a little bit. This looks a little bit extreme. But yeah, it should look as if the jaw is open, but the mouth is closed. Once you're done with these shapes, you can go to Bake and click Bake Shape Keys and press OK. Then in Shapes, you can just check your shapes, and if they don't look good for any reason, you can go back to rigging and you can tweak your poses and bake them again. But I'm happy with my poses, so I'll go to Control, and here I'm going to generate a control rig for the face. Now this automatically created this face rig for us. If I go to Pose Mode, you'll see that this widget here opens the mouth. This one moves the eyes. This one is smile and frown. These are lips controls. This is the whole mouth control. Open and close. Brow controls. Sneer. The controls are quite self-explanatory. Now, one problem currently is that if I go to my main rig, pose mode, and move the head around, the face is not moving with the head. So keep this head bone selected, go to Control Rig Setup and Utilities, Experimental, and press the Set Child Of button, and that will parent the face rig to the selected head rig. Now the face rig moves with the head. So we are basically done with the rigging part. I'm going to save my file at this point. Okay, with all of this set up, we can move to the mocap section next and animate the face of this character using facial mocap data. Of course, you can go to your face rig, pose mode, and animate these controls to create manual facial animation, which is a perfectly viable option, but this video is meant for people who are not very technically skilled, so I believe that facial motion capture can help you a lot. In this section, first go to Setup, Head Setup, and here we want to set up the head bone of our rig. You can skip this step, which means that when you import facial animation, only the face will be animated, but the head will be completely static. And if that is what you want, then please skip the head setup, but the head animation adds a lot of life to your character. First, I want to choose my armature, and let's rename it actually to something that we can recognize, such as Mixamo Rig. And the other armature is a Mixamo Mocap. I'm going to delete it. Right. So now here I can choose my Mixamo rig, and then I want to choose the head bone. So start typing head, and for this rig we want control head. Head action you can disable here, it will be imported later, and then we can start importing facial motion capture. So close setup and expand import. FaceIt allows us to import facial motion capture in a couple of different ways. It can import data from FaceCap, which is an iPhone app, lifelike face, which is another iPhone app, also audio to face, which is freely available technology from NVIDIA. It can be very powerful, but not very easy to set up, so it definitely deserves its own video. That is something that I may cover in the future, so make sure you're subscribed with the all option if you want to be notified about it. And yet another way is live facial motion capture, so you can literally look at the camera of your phone and your character will be performing and saying the words that you say. I only have limited experience with live capture, so today we'll focus on FaceCap and lifelike face. In the next minute or so, I'll give you a very quick overview of using FaceCap and lifelike face, and I'll even give you a possible alternative if you don't have an iPhone. I recommend using lifelike face because it is free. Here is how to use it. Start the app, choose lifelike ARKit and continue. Tap the settings icon and note the FPS. I set mine to 30 FPS. Next, point the camera at yourself, press the record button, record your performance, press record again to finish the recording, tap the movie clapper icon, tap on your recording. Finally, use the share icon and choose a way to send your data to your PC. Google Drive works well for me. FaceCap is a paid app and it does more or less the same as lifelike Face. But if you're using FaceCap, here is what to do. Start the app and point the front camera at yourself, press record, record your performance, press record again and finish the recording. Tap export, which sends the FaceCap data to your iPhone files. So go to your iPhone files folder, find the FaceCap folder. Finally, use the iPhone share function to send the data to your computer. If you don't have an iPhone, you can use an Android app called MeowFace and a PC app called Morec. Using these two, I've been able to capture a facial performance, but it is a lot less reliable than the iPhone and the quality is lower. In the future, I'll try to figure out the best approach for non-iPhone users and share it with you. So stay subscribed. Now, if you're using FaceCap, you can expand this field and click on Load Audio. Here I have my FaceCap data. I'm going to select the WAV file and then load the text file. And then simply click Import. And these settings should be fine and I'll press OK. Now, if I press play, I should see and hear the voice and the facial performance that I recorded using FaceCap. Hi, this is a test recording for CG Dive's Mixamo and FaceIt tutorial. Okay, I'm going to undo now. And let's try lifelike Face as well. Again, load audio. Go to my lifelike Face files. Lifelike Face by default creates an MOV file rather than an audio file. So if you want to be on the safe side, you should convert this MOV file to MP3 or WAV. And you can just go to Google and type convert MOV to MP3 and you'll find free services that will do that for you. But we could also just disable this filter here and I'll choose the MOV file. And I found out that it works. Next, I'll load the CSV file. And you may have a bunch of them, but the ones you can actually use are the raw one or the cal one. I believe cal stays for calibrated. So that is probably the best one that you can use. So load it and then import CSV. And in these options, you should definitely check if your frame rate is set correctly. Mine was set to 30, so I'll set it to 30 and press OK. And now I can press play again and see and hear my character. Hi, this is a test recording for CG Dive's Mixamo and FaceIt tutorial. In this case, I find the lifelike Face result a little bit better than FaceCap, but under the hood, it is the same technology, so you should get similar results. Something that may bother you is the tilt of the head of the character. That probably means that my phone was tilted when I was capturing my face. But that can be fixed very easily. Go to your Mixamo rig, go to pose mode, switch this window to graph editor, make sure that this button here is enabled, and then you can go to item and play with the rotation axis and see which one will raise the head, and that is the x-axis. So I'm going to hide the y and z, zoom out, select this whole curve, and then press G and Y. And in this case, I have to move it down, and that will raise the head of my character. And if you need to, you can play with the other axis, most likely the Z axis, in the same way. Just press G and Y and see what looks good. But now if I play the animation, hi, this is a test recording. The head of the character will be exactly as I want it. Something else that is important to understand is where the audio is coming from. And if you switch this window to video sequencer, you will see this audio strip. And this is important because you may want to change the timing of your face animation. Let's say that I want the face animation to start exactly where my play head is now. I can press G here and move this strip and position it exactly at the play head. Then you can go to your timeline, select your head, select all keyframes, and then press G and also move them exactly at the playhead. And I also need to go to the face rig, go to pose mode, select all keyframes and move them. So I have to undo, make sure that everything is selected and then move the keyframes. Now we'll have nothing at first, and then exactly from here, the animation should start. Hi, this is a test recording for CG. And the audio is also in sync. Okay, now I want to undo these changes. So I'll press Ctrl Z a couple of times. Let's also switch to video sequencer and press Ctrl Z until I get the audio at the beginning. And now let's try to put everything together. We want to have some body animation and facial animation. We also want to have control over the timing of the animation and even the ability to tweak the animation or make our own animations. So I want to go to Mixamo and download some more animations. But as you can see, while I was recording, I switched the character. And that is actually okay. A lot of the Mixamo characters are compatible with custom characters. For example, this ninja character is safe to use. So I could apply an animation to this character here, download it without skin, and then bring it into Blender. And then with the Mixamo tools, I can apply this animation to my custom character. And that is okay. But if you want to be completely safe, you can select your rig and all of your character meshes. So we don't want the face rig. I'm going to hide it for a second. And then select the rig and all meshes. Then go to File, Export, FBX, enable Limit to Selected Objects, and under Armature, untick Add Leaf Bones, and tick Only Deform Bones, and save your file. Then go to Mixamo, choose Upload Character, grab the FBX file you exported, and just drop it into the Mixamo interface. And because this character has a compatible armature, we don't need to rig it again. It will be rigged already. Click Next, Next. And then you can apply animations to your custom character. And this will ensure the best compatibility between the Mixamo animations and your Mixamo rig in Blender. And I'm going to want a walking animation. And to make things simpler, enable the in-place setting. Press download, choose without skin, and download it. Another animation that I want is a wave. Let's say this one, for example. And I'll search for talk, or we can also choose an idle animation. Let's go with this one and download it. Now in Blender, I can go to File, Import, FBX, and here are the three animations that I wanted. Talking, waving, and walking. Just control click on all of them and press Import FBX. You can move them to the side. Next, we're going to combine these animations that we downloaded from Mixamo. And for that, I highly recommend that you use the Nonlinear Animation Editor in Blender, or NLA for short. So I can switch this window to Nonlinear Animation. This editor can be intimidating at first, but it is extremely powerful. In this video, I'll try to show you some basics, but as much as I like to show everything in a single video, it's just not possible. So I have separate videos specifically about the NLA, and they will help you use the NLA properly. I also just released another video called Mixamo Animation Secrets, in which I show all sorts of cool practical techniques for combining and tweaking Mixamo animations. The video is also aimed at non-technical people. Check it out, I think you'll like it. In the NLA, first enable the selection toggle so that we only see information related to the selected object, and that cleans up things quite a bit. Next, split another window and change it to Dope Sheet and this here to Action Editor. So to work with the NLA, you also have to understand Blender's actions. Each animation in Blender is stored as an action, and the action is then applied to your armature. Now I have an action already applied. That is the head animation which FaceIt created for me. So let's click here and name this head action. That is going to be useful. And then I'm going to press the X button, and that will unlink this animation, meaning that it is no longer active. Although if we click here, you will find the head action still in the blend file. Let's select it again actually. And here's this shield icon. In this case, it is enabled. And you should always make sure that this shield is enabled. Otherwise, you may lose your animation. Next, I'm going to apply these Mixamo animations to the rig. So let's select the first one and apply it. Okay, this is the talking animation. Enable the shield. Then select the next source armature. Apply the animation. That is the walk. So name it walk and enable shield. And then the wave, apply it, rename it, and click the shield. Now I don't need these armatures anymore, I can delete them. And now we can start working with the NLA. Let's switch to the walking animation and press this push down button. And here it seemed like nothing happened. That is because I hadn't selected the armature. Okay, now if I click, you'll see the walk animation here in the NLA. So let's undo, select the armature and then press push down, and you'll see how this action drops from the active action into the NLA. So now we have the same walking animation, but it is in the NLA instead of being an active animation. And once in the NLA, we can do cool stuff with it. For example, if we scroll down here and go to action clip, expand it, and increase the repeat value and play the animation.
Hi, this is a test recording for CG Dives.
You'll see that the walking animation is looping.
Hi, this is a test.
And let me switch to the video sequencer and disable this track for a second. We'll enable it later, but I don't want to hear the voice now. All right, now we have our walking animation and it loops. We can also change the playback scale, which will make the animation play faster or slower. Here I made it slower. I can make it faster. Next, I'm going to enable the wave animation and push it down as well. And let's play and see what happens. It seems that we just have the wave animation. So what we could do is grab this strip and move it over to the end of my walk cycle. And now you may be surprised that the walking is not visible, but if you just select the wave and go to extrapolation and choose nothing instead of hold, that will allow the walking animation to show through. And then we're going to switch to the wave. Now the switch is very abrupt, so you can select your wave and give it a little bit of blend in. And now you'll see how we gradually switch from one animation to the other. So you may need more overlap, you have to play with it. So that is one way to use the NLA. Another one, I'm going to remove the blend in and move this wave again so that it overlaps the walk. Now in the NLA, with the wave selected, I'm going to press Tab, and that will allow me to temporarily edit this animation. Then go to pose mode, and let's select all controls except for the arm here. So all of this, select it and expand the summary and remove the check mark next to these controls. And the result is that now we have a walk and the wave is mixed with the walk. So that is another powerful NLA technique. Next, let's enable the talk animation, push it down, and move it so that it overlaps with the end of the walk and wave. Again, the talk animation is overpowering what we created previously because it is below it and because we have extrapolation to hold. So we can switch it to nothing, and we can also give it a blend in. So now we have walking and waving, and then the character stops and does a talking animation. If you want to have a longer animation, you can switch one editor to timeline just for a second and expand it here. And a shortcut, place the playhead at the end of your animation and press Ctrl and End. Okay, so now we have the walking and waving, and then the character stops and talks. Now I want to tweak the facial animation so that it overlaps exactly with the talking animation. So I'm going to unhide my face rig. And this is my facial animation. And because this is a single animation, I don't need to use the NLA, but let's just do it for practice. I'm going to push down this animation and then shift select the rig, and that will allow me to see both animations. So I'm going to overlap this with the talk animation. And for the talk, I want to either use the scale to make it slower, or I may try to repeat and I set my end of the animation to around here. Now we also had the head animation for the main rig. So let's select the head action, push it down, shift select the face rig so that I can see the facial action. And then I'll move the head action so that it overlaps exactly with the face animation. And that way, my facial animation and the head animation that I imported will be synced. And finally, go to your video sequencer. I'm going to enable the audio channel here and press G and also move it exactly at the playhead, right? Because if I go back to the nonlinear editor, I placed the playhead exactly at the beginning of my facial animation and head action. So now facial animation, head action, and audio should be in perfect sync. Okay, and let's see what we have now. Walking, waving.
Hi, this is a test recording for CG Dive's Mixamo and FaceIt tutorial.
And everything seems to have been mixed together nicely. And again, the NLA can be complex. It does have a lot of gotchas. So again, please watch the NLA videos to learn everything properly, and then the Mixamo Animation Secrets video for a bunch of cool and practical techniques.